2010 means even more tech throughout, as well as increased versatility for passengers. Drivers will find the dashboard looking more and more like something ready to launch into space. On the outside, retro roars back to the sleek designs of the 1970s muscle cars. Of course, in the end, the vehicle you choose should fit your budget, needs, and lifestyle. All in all, 2010 is proving to be a very exciting year for the new car market.
Now is a great time to buy a car. People have been stepping out of the market a little bit, right, Jim?
They have indeed.
The economy has not been great, but now people are getting a little bit more brave, sticking their toes back in the water. Why is it still a good time to buy a car?
Well, because people have been out of the market. Car sales are nowhere near where manufacturers and dealers would like to see them. And so as a result, you'll find that there are some very good deals out there.
Even though the Cash for Clunkers deal is gone?
The Cash for Clunkers deal is gone, but a holdover of the Cash for Clunkers could help you out.
How?
Cash for Clunkers drew nearly 750,000 used cars, many of them perfectly viable used cars, out of the market. As a result, we're seeing used car prices higher than they've been in some time. So your trade-in could be worth more.
All right, so I'm thinking about buying a new car. A lot of people are. What are some good research avenues before we take off and hit the lots?
All right, obviously there are publications that you can get on newsstands, and you can go through magazines, read articles, talk to friends who may have purchased a new car or a car in the last year or two, find out what they're thinking. And then, of course, you can always go to the internet.
Ah, the internet. We all go to the internet.
And cars.com is a perfect place to start.
Okay, so there's some things to look at as you're going through the internet, but before we get to that, why buy something new?
New cars, I think, have a variety of advantages. First of all, there's the psychological lift that you can only get with a new vehicle. There's that new vehicle smell.
The new car smell.
The new car warranty.
Yeah.
And, of course, you also enjoy the latest technology.
Wow. I've recently heard that the car is becoming your biggest household expense. How is that?
It's entirely possible because increasingly there are families that have multiple cars. There are 2 or 3 people, maybe 4 people who are driving, and they each require their own vehicle. And when you start adding up the monthly payments and the costs that are involved, it will oftentimes exceed housing.
All right, so I know that I want one. We've done our basic research on the computer. We ready to hit the lots?
I think so.
All right, best way to learn is to drive, so let's go. All right, Jim, I did my research at home on cars.com, and I think I know what I want. We're here at Bowles in Stafford Springs. I probably should be looking at this blue Dodge Caravan, but I want to have some fun. So I'm going to look at the Dodge Challenger. So I'm here. I think I know what I want. What do we do now that we're in the sales room?
The Challenger was certainly the car that you settled on in the internet search at cars.com. So the first thing to do is take a look at the car. Do you like it as much in person as you liked it on the computer screen?
I do.
Okay, then. So that's the first hurdle passed.
All right.
The next thing you want to do is let's take a look inside.
Okay.
Notice, for example, in the back seat, you're probably going to have room for your 2 children.
Yes, I am.
And that's handy.
Now, it's handy.
You want to try the seat yourself.
Okay.
And
This is where the fun begins, right?
The reason you want to try this seat is that over the next 60,000 miles, you are probably going to spend 2,000 hours sitting in that seat.
In this seat.
So a few extra minutes spent right now to make sure that you're comfortable there is time well spent.
Feels good.
Well, that's good.
All right, now I'm here. It feels good. What do I need to know?
Well, let's start by looking at some of the technology that's available in cars today. For example, almost all cars now have ABS, anti-lock braking, and that's a very valuable safety addition. In addition to that, this car also has stability control, which would help you control it in the event of a skid. Another very valuable safety addition. The next thing to consider, airbags. This car has 6 of them. You're going to find 2 front airbags. You're also going to find 2 thorax protecting airbags and side curtain airbags to protect heads in the event of a side collision.
Okay, all right. No, I like it, for sure. Now, I want to move on to the next step. I think I know I want to buy this. We're here. We need to take advantage of a sales rep in the showroom. So, Scott, we are lucky to have you here from Bowles, and you're going to tell us what we need to do next. What do you do to help customers feel comfortable when they come in here? They don't know a lot about cars, maybe. What do you do to help them decide what's right for them?
Well, the biggest thing is sales not all about the price. The biggest thing is you want to be able to come in and tell us what your wants and needs are, so we can turn around and make sure that the car's structured to what you need and what your qualifications are, not what our qualifications are. We're here for you. The salesperson has all the product knowledge and information for you, for the safety features right down to the ability of the vehicle and the seating ability of the vehicle, to make sure that that's best for you.
Make the best decision. All right.
Absolutely.
I really like this Dodge Challenger. I like it in this sheet metal, but I really would like to try the black. Do you have it in black outside?
Absolutely. We have one right outside.
Can I test
Let's
drive it?
take a ride.
Okay, let's go. We've done all that hard work, Jim, inside. We did the internet research. We've been inside the sales room. What do we do now? I'm ready to drive. This is the fun part that everybody loves, finally getting behind the wheel. What do I need to think about as I'm test driving?
Well, the first thing you want to do is make sure you're still comfortable. Do you still fit in the car well? And try out some of the controls. Do they work smoothly and logically? Are they placed where you can reach them easily?
All right.
Then when it comes time to do the actual drive, what you want to do is make sure that you drive on the kinds of roads that you normally use. If you use highways a lot, make sure you go on the highway. A lot of people just drive it around the block once and it doesn't really cut the mustard. You also want to make sure that the performance is there for you, especially in the 45 to 65 mile per hour zone, because that's the acceleration range that you're going to need for passing and merging.
Okay.
As you drive down the road, try the steering. Move the car slightly within the lane. Oftentimes the on-center response and the feedback that you get for very slight turns will tell you a lot more about how you're going to enjoy driving this car than sharp corners will.
What's this all about? There's no metal on here.
More and more manufacturers have gotten rid of cut keys, and this is an electronic key. It's good for security.
All right.
Give it a try.
In. Okay. Ooh, I like the sound of that.
No.
What?
No, I said you don't want the radio on. You want to
radio.
listen. You want to listen to the car. Listen
Okay.
to the sounds of the engine. Listen for road noise. Listen for tire noise.
Okay. I got my seatbelt on. Feels good. I've got it in drive. You might want to get out of the way.
I think so.
See you in a while. Okay, here we go. It's a pretty good pickup. Wow, that was a great ride. That was a lot of fun, and I kept everything in mind that you told me to as I went along.
Well, that's good. Here's one more thing to keep in
What?
mind. Once you've driven one car, you don't want to stop. You want to drive several, because you never know what you're going to discover when you sample a broader range of models.
Okay, so keep my options open. Another great option to consider is the used car market, and we'll check that out when we come back.
You drive up to the pump and immediately you're confronted with numbers. I don't mean the price on the pump, I mean 87, 91, 93, the octane ratings. What do these mean? Which should you buy? Start by checking your owner's manual. If the manual says your car can burn regular, by all means save your money. Buy regular gasoline. If it says premium is recommended, oftentimes that means it's not required and you can still get by with regular. So give it a try. See if you can pocket the difference. If the manual says premium is required, well, then go for the 91 or the 93.
Jim and I just finished checking out new car options. Now we're taking a look at the used car market. All right, Jim, I've been doing my homework and I went back online. I'm also thinking about going the used car route. I've gotten a lot of good information on Cars.com.
Used cars can represent an exceptional value at this time, and even though prices for used cars now are higher than they've been in recent memory, they're still an excellent buy. Because of depreciation, you will pay less for a used car than you will for a comparable new car. And if you get the right used car, you'll get many miles out of it.
Well, I've got some good options, so let's go check them out.
Let's.
You've talked a lot about how a used car can be a great value. There's so many different ones to choose from. What do we need to be looking at when we're in the used car section?
You need to look at everything you considered when you looked at a new car. Does the car fit your needs? Do you fit in the car? Are the controls easily accessed? All of those details. But you also have to look very, very carefully at the car itself, because a used car such as this is not just the sum of what the manufacturer put into it.
Right, it's got a past life.
It's got a past life, and it reflects how the previous owner drove it and how the previous owner maintained it. So you really want to go through this car very, very carefully.
You have a checklist that you use that's really helpful in determining whether or not this is the car for you. What's on that list?
Just about everything, and it's really a very detailed checklist that starts at the tires. You want to make sure that there's good tire tread left and that the tires are wearing evenly. And if you're buying from a private party, by all means take a look at the tire pressures, because that can be an indicator of how the car has been used. And don't forget the spare. You then want to take a very careful look at the body of the car. Is there signs of damage? Are there unrepaired nicks and dents? Are there repairs that were done improperly? And it's best to look at the car while it's clean and under bright sunlight. That will show up more faults than you're likely to see at night. Look under the hood. Are things too clean? Perhaps there was a leak or a problem that the owners cleaned up with a quick steam cleaning that will come back after you've purchased the car. If you see lots of oil stains and drippage points, you probably want to avoid this car. Check everything that's inside the car. Roll all the windows up and down. Make sure that they work. Make sure the sunroof works. Sometimes it helps to bring along a family member or a friend so that you can check all the lights. In other words, you want to go through this car very, very thoroughly. And if it passes those tests, then the next step is to take it to a mechanic. So you've found what you think is the perfect used car. What's the next step? Get it checked by an independent mechanic, somebody who has no interest in the outcome of the sale. Let's find out what we want to look for.
Well, the first reason would be that that person that's going to be looking at it doesn't gain any value. They're not going to have a dollar put in their pocket from the sale of the vehicle. And as an independent, you can look at it and make a determining factor whether the vehicle needs repair, doesn't need repair, and the customer's going to rely on our information to go back to the seller and let them know that there may be other issues with the car that they are not aware of. When we check a vehicle, we take it for a road test. That's the first thing we do. Make sure everything feels fine, the brakes feel fine, suspension, alignment, etc. Then we bring it in, we check the heat, the air conditioning, all the electrical functions. We physically check the front end, we physically look at the brakes, and then we'll put a computer on it and we'll scan to see if there's any codes that are hidden within a computer system. The customer that's buying it may not know that there's a problem in there that might creep up days or weeks later. And then we also ask the customer what kind of a warranty are they going to get from the selling, whether it's a dealer or if it's an independent. Not all shops can check all cars. There's a layer of equipment and expertise that's really needed to check all cars. Many manufacturers, you need dealer-specific tools to get into the computer system. Whether you need to look at the mileage, is the mileage true of that vehicle? Can you read the proper codes within that vehicle? So some shops don't have the equipment to test all of the cars that are out there. An inspection takes roughly an hour. By the time that we take the road test and we bring it in, we pull the wheels, we check the front end, we do the computer diagnostics, you're going to spend an hour in looking at a vehicle. I'm going to say that most people are going to spend between $75 and $125 to do that service.
All right, Jim, once again, a wealth of information. That's great, thank you. Now, when we come back, we're going to find out what to do with the old car.
Lots of people have questions about these tires. What kind should they use? Well, for most drivers, an all-season radial is good in all the seasons, even in the wintertime. If you can wait for the plow to make the first pass, you're all set. However, if you drive the plow or you have to go through unplowed snow, dedicated snow tires would be an excellent idea. And if your car came with summer or performance tires, in the wintertime, you're definitely going to want to make a switch.
Before the break, we finished looking over options for buying a car. Now we need to check out what to do with my current car. All right, I have all sorts of great information thanks to you. I know what I'm going to do to get my new car. What do I do with my old one?
You have a couple of options. First, you could trade it in on the new car. And if you have a car with a good deal of value, there's a real incentive to do that, because in this state, you only pay sales tax on the difference in price between what the new car costs less the value of your old car. If you have an older car, however, where the dealer is really only going to be offering you a wholesale price for the vehicle, you're oftentimes going to be able to get more money if you sell it yourself.
Okay. So if it's in fairly good shape but has a few dings and scratches, which I think we've all done to our cars a time or two, should I fix those before I take it to the dealer or before I put an ad in the newspaper?
Minor dings and scratches, especially on an older car, are expected, and they're not necessarily going to detract a great deal from the value of the vehicle. If you have major damage on the car, you may want to just advertise the vehicle as having that damage and price it accordingly, because if you do the repairs, the chances are you won't get your money back.
Oh, that's good advice. You might even lose a little bit of money if you go that route. All right, so what kind of a checkup should I give this old car before I get ready to sell it?
If you're going to sell it yourself, make sure it's in the kind of condition that you would want a car to be in if you were going to buy it. Clean it up and check to make sure everything under the hood is in apple pie order. For example, change the oil. A buyer doesn't want to pull the dipstick out and see dirty oil. They want to see fresh, clean oil. They want to see fresh, clean coolant. Look at it as if you were the customer. Put it in the kind of condition that you would want it to be in if you were going to buy it. And that should put you in pretty good shape.
Okay, great advice. I think I know what I'm going to do. Thanks, Jim.
Thank you.
Okay, Jim, we're lucky to have you hostage in this seat. You are the consummate car expert. You write a weekly column in the Hartford Courant's Wednesday Wheels column. You get tons of questions all the time from all sorts of people, and we have some of them here, and we're gonna fire away. Ready?
Okay.
All right, first question. When I'm backing up in my Honda Odyssey, I have trouble seeing behind me. Can I get a backup camera installed?
The answer is yes, you can. You know, backup cameras are becoming increasingly popular because they give you a much better view to the rear of your vehicle, a view that's not blocked by the trunk lid or a tailgate assembly. It allows you to see right down to the pavement at the rear bumper. So they're a very good idea for safety. That said, if your car or truck does not have one, an increasing number of units are becoming available now that would allow you to install a backup camera on your car. Usually the camera itself is very small and can be installed in the trunk lid or the tailgate. Wiring usually has to be run up to some sort of a screen that's put on the instrument panel, but some of the slick new ones actually hide the screen inside the rear view mirror. The rear view mirror on the inside looks like a standard rear view mirror and works like a standard rear view mirror until you shift into reverse. And then a small screen shows you in that rear view mirror exactly what's behind the car.
And there are even some that are wireless right now that are just coming out?
Yes, they're coming out with units that are wireless so that you don't have to run a wire between the camera and the screen.
That's cool. All right, next question. With everything I heard about hybrids, can they really save me that much money at the pump?
The answer is it depends. It depends on how you drive and where you drive. How you drive first. Driving style plays a huge role in hybrid fuel economy. And we've done some tests for a Wednesday Wheel column, in fact, in which driving style allowed a variation of 14 miles to the gallon. When I sort of hot dogged it around town, I didn't do all that well, and when I was very, very careful, I did quite well. So driving style plays a large role in what you'll get from a hybrid. In addition to that, where you drive is also important. Hybrids, interestingly enough, don't do all that much better, if any better, on the open road. And you'll notice that the EPA estimates for many hybrids have the fuel economy around town higher than the fuel economy on the highway. So if you do a lot of highway driving, you may not see the kind of return on your investment that you were hoping for.
So if you have a long commute on a highway, maybe not the best option for you.
Unless, of course, you're constantly facing stop-and-go traffic.
That's the case for a lot of people. Third question, where is the safest place to put a car seat in the car?
Statistics tell us that everybody, regardless of age, is about 30% safer riding in the back seat than the front seat. So clearly you want the child in the back seat. That's especially true on cars with front passenger side airbags. In addition, you also want the child in the center, because there, in the event of a side impact, there's more space, more crush space, more safety cushioning space, if you will, between the outer boundaries of the vehicle and where the child is sitting. That said, as a child gets older and gets into a booster seat, definitely stay in the center if you have a lap and shoulder harness. But if you don't, at that point you'd want to move the child to the outboard seating positions where you do have a proper restraint system.
So they're secured better by having both positions of the belt. And you should just bring your car seat with you, perhaps, when you go buy a car. Make sure it fits in the car.
Absolutely. It's one of the areas that you should check before you make the purchase.
Okay. Last question. I love this one. What should I be worried about if I want to pass on my old car to my new teenage driver?
Unfortunately, the answer is you should be worried about everything. Statistics tell us that when a teen has a car available to him or to her all the time, the crash rate goes way up. And so you really don't want to provide the teen with a car, if at all possible. Make it so that they have to borrow one from the parents. Much safer. That said, if you're getting a new car and you want to pass the old car on to the teen because the teen absolutely positively has to have one, you should probably, and parents don't like this, you should probably give the teen the new car.
Ugh, no.
Yes, because the new car will have the airbags, which probably the old car doesn't have, side impact, head airbags, thorax airbags, frontal airbags. It'll probably have anti-lock brakes, stability control, all of the safety systems that help a teenage driver be safer will be on the new car. And unfortunately, if there's any member of the family who's likely to need it, it will be the teen.
Well, an unpopular, I'm sure, but very good answer. Thank you. And we're so glad you were with us. We hope you'll join us next time. For Jim McPherson, I'm Amanda Bergen. So long.